Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be working in a 2005 Chevy Silverado Instrument Cluster. This is actually from a local customer, Jeremiah. He is here from Virginia. So he brought this instrument cluster because he said he has problems with the oil gauge. I said, don't worry about that. I will take care of that. And no matter what, I replace always all the separate motors. He said, yeah, make sure that we check all the lights and everything. So I said, as I normally do, I do a video before and after. I already cleaned the board, or sorry, the cluster, because it was really dirty. I mean, nothing abnormal, right? So, but yeah, it was a little dirty. Let me just move this so you guys can see. Yeah, right there. Just going to put this paperwork here. Let me maybe zoom out. Yep. All right, so the cluster has 148,913 miles. And let's see if we can connect to the scanner. So I got the top down ready to go. Okay, so we have the top down, and they're going to make that a little bigger so you guys can see it better. Since I went and zoom out a little more, I think we can put them in there without being on your way. All right, so I have it ready, but not completely selected. So we don't really know because I don't have the entire beam of the car, which is on here. I'm going to select realistically for the instrument cluster is not really important. So I'm just going to do some selections in here just to please the scanner. As you see, it's all that selection that is not really important for what I'm doing. Okay, what I want to do is just make sure that I can do bi-directional control for all the separate motors. I have right now the blinkers. This is a switch that I put for the blinkers so you guys can see that. I don't really need to have it on. So let's, we haven't even established the communication. It says reading. Okay, so again, so many questions, right? I'm going to power it off and power it back on so you can see all the lights and all the dots on the instrument cluster coming on. Sorry for the glaring. That's actually coming from the screen. There's nothing I can do in there, right? Because if I make, not sure how much I can or not do. Trying to get you the best of the view without that much of a glare. Now I'm finding the other light, which I have it there. That I can solve. Getting a little darker for me. Well, the other camera is actually picking up really well. So let me relocate the top down. And now that's in the middle of the screen. So I'm gonna have to make this a little smaller so we can see that without affecting your view. All right, so we have it in there. Let's select the instrument cluster, which is IPC, right? Come on. A little slow in response. The team viewer. All right, so we're going to go directly into actuation tests. Instrument panel. Well, we can do the lamp test first. All right, so let's display tests on. We can see, all the lamps now on. Yeah, it's actually better that I did this so you can see it. And now off. All right, so that is good. Let's go over to the next test. I always like to perform a test to see if I find something that I need to bring to the customer's attention, or if it's something, or if it's everything working fine, right? So it will be just a normal refurbish. All right, so we're going to do now the segment test, which is going to be a little hard to see from that angle, but yeah, I'm just moving it a little bit so all the segments are good. Not a problem with that. Let's go back now to the gauges. And we can see the tack not really working well. All right, let's do that one more time so I can see myself. Because I saw the tachometer not working right. Well, we can see what he's actually complaining. The oil pressure is stuck into a position that is not zero. So the sweep test that I'm doing is, as it says, is going to do a complete sweep from 0 to maximum and then come back to 0, which that one didn't do it. Let's do it one more time. And I can hear really heavy. Oof, that one is definitely no good. Now the speed is not reaching 120 either. The oil is reading the full. But yeah, it's definitely, so I will consider 3 stepper motors that we have problems: tachometer, speed, and obviously the oil pressure. So again, this is just a short video to reproduce this concern. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to take it apart and let's do this work together. I know that you guys have been asking to have some of the repairs that I do with you. So let's do that. So let me let me turn it off. So let me get out of here first, out of the scanner. So I can turn this one off because we don't need it for now. Let me. Yeah, it's actually connected to the charger. So I'm going to just leave it like that. And I'm going to power all this off. So as you see, I power it off. I have made a complete harness for this instrument cluster. So this is my making. As you see, I made a short wire for the complete test on these. I'm just going to move it out of the view. I'm going to turn the output out on my bench supply so I don't have that power in there just, consuming nothing. Same thing in here. And let me now put some light here because I like to work with light. Just move that third arm from out of my way, and this is perfect because that is not in your way either. So as you see, I got it nice and clean. So these clusters are very simple to open. So what I would always recommend is to use a plastic tool to open it up. Let's remove the back end first. All you need to do is lift the steps carefully because remember, it's a 2005, right? I just use one to keep a pressure and the other one to raise it up, as you see, so you don't break the tabs. That's the only careful or the only care that you want to have is take your time because this is super easy to break. Plastic from 20 years old, right? We're gonna do the same thing on the bottom, which should come pretty easy now that the top is open. Yep. As you guys can see what I'm doing, right? Sometimes my glasses don't work too well for me as far as proximity. Oof, yes, this is so dusty. Hopefully you can see all the dust in there. And that was the way the actual cluster showed up too. Let's do a quick inspection in here. It looks like somebody replaced the oil one already. Because I can definitely see a solder joint in there that is definitely not original. All right, but either way, so let's now remove the front the same way. Start always with the center, at least that's how I do it. And I put this in here just to put a little bit of a pressure while I'm doing the lifting in here. So I can hold that one open. I got 3. And we should have 2 more on the bottom. They're a little hard to get because you have to go through. And that's why you need to remove the rear plastic cover. Gotta get more light, guys. Very, very dusty. Yeah, that's this one. You have to come from in here and lift and pull. This one's a little tricky to get released. Try not to cover you guys, but it looks like it's going to be impossible to do. Yeah, it looks like yeah, somebody was here because that is bent. That's why it's not coming out. So yeah, somebody definitely was here before. And I can see, so what I'm going to use is just pick this way to release the tap, because as the way that it is now, again, I'm being really careful not to break it. But this is how it's whole, even though it has the screws on the outside here, right, to hold it. The bottom is not that really critical. I like not to break anything if possible. I know I'm going to be in your way, but in this case, I need to see, right? I think I got one. Almost. Very, very bad design. I don't blame whoever did this, because believe me, it's not easy. The way they did this. And it's making it a lot harder for me. Because this one wasn't so bad. This side was not as damaged as this one. I have that side pretty much on hook. Hopefully you can see that. Let's see, I don't think I have more on this side. Yeah, I'm almost out. It went back in, but this one should be easy. Got that one out. This one is the one that's fighting me, because it's a little bent. But it's not broken, so. Okay. And it came out perfect. You can see all the junk we have here. Shower clean. And look at this. All right, so this I'm going to put here on the bench. Got a duster, battery operated. So let me blow this, not on my bench, but you can see all that junk in there. I got a garbage can in here. Put some finger gloves. Usually just put three, but on this one, I'm to grab it better. I'm gonna put in four of the fingers. And let's see what we have here. A lot of dust. Nothing, nothing outrageous. I don't care about the position of the needles because I'm going to, oof, yeah, that is definitely no good. Heating or not? Sometimes whoever opens up doesn't adjust the needles to the depth, and that can also create a problem because they will seek because of that same situation. And yes, I can barely get the paper under it. And that could have created an issue with the stepper motors because if they're down too much, and I think this is not installed properly. We'll see when I take it completely apart. Right now we can get this out of here. More dust. But I need to see before we jump into the actual cluster. Just looking at in between the layers to see if something is right. No, I think everything is correct. Okay, do another cleanup. Actually, I will do that outside the video so I don't hold you cleaning up, right? That's not important for you guys. Ooh, wow. I hope you guys can see something. Like definitely. I mean, look at that. Ooh, what's here? Jesus. I don't understand why people don't, like, yeah, nobody has done it. Look at this. What is this combination of bulbs? Let me just show you guys what I'm talking about. Look at this bulb. It's like whatever and whatever. I mean, they replace one bulb and then use something else. Oh, Jesus. And I mean, whoever was working in here didn't have too much care about, quality of repair or tools. Wow. Jesus. I can see what seems to be a broken resistor. I guess my Well, I don't need a glove for this no more. The gloves were just there for what we just removed, trying to be, clean and don't leave fingerprints everywhere, right? But realistically, I'm not sure if this cluster deserves it. Wow. All right, so let me get a tweezer to see what do we have here. Because I see a piece in here which was soldered. Oh my god. This one is just halfway in there. They didn't clean nothing. At least they didn't touch this one's up, which luckily for the cluster is better. I'm surprised it even worked. Now I understand why this is, partially working. Just going around the other areas of interest for me. And then I will explain what is normally done here. All right, we're back in recording. So let me see if I can get you guys closer. Yeah. So whoever was here solder this resistor in here with a piece of another resistor, and it's solder. It is soldered there. So when you're working on these clusters, obviously you're going to replace the lights and the bulbs. Yeah, sometimes if you cannot find this type, you're gonna have to use this type of bulbs, and nothing wrong with that. But at least change them all. Let me get you out. All right, so this in here is just because it doesn't have diesel, so this is only for the diesels clusters. But yeah, they replace one, two of one kind, and then I don't know what this is. I have never seen this type of valve, but it's actually not bad of a shape. But why would you replace just one and then leave this one in here, and then the rest, right? So it makes no sense. So let's put a needle here. Put a needle in here and in here. Get that wire again. I'm gonna power it up one more time. And since we don't have the cluster complete, we have to be very careful when we install these pins. That you are going exactly where there needs to be. Make sure that was marked top and bottom. Okay. Can rest in there, not a problem. Alright. I'm gonna turn the lamps off so we can see better. And let me get the scanner. Only because I reduced the size. Yes, so let me put this scanner in here. And we need to reconnect. Because if MBTCI Pro, whatever from Tabdome was unplugged, I turn them off. Should be on now. Yeah, tap down is showing us it's still connected. I'm actually seeing on the scanner and it looks like I'm already connected. Come on. See? Like really delayed. Not sure why. My internet is super fast here. All right, so let's enter back here. Let me power up. Definitely can see burned balls. You can see this one is dead. That one is dead. And miraculously, the rest are working. So we will be checking that up. I will be replacing all the lights. I just want to, I always mark the ones that are not working to check with my own power and so to make sure that we are not just going to replace a bulb that is burned or if it has a problem on the board. All right, so let's enter the instrument cluster. Let's do an actuation test, and we're just going to do the gauges, right? We're going to have 3 needles in there, so I want to see if it's stuck because of the position or because it still has a problem on the stepper motors or the drivers, right? Yeah, we can hear that squealing. Hopefully you can hear. Let me do it one more time. So yeah, that's definitely a problem with the stepper motor. So I'm going to replace them all. So we need 4, 6 in this case. Now let me power this off. So the areas that you need to work on these instrument clusters are pretty common. Put this here, as you guys are seeing well in there, and we can turn this up. So you want to solder all these resistors, these in this area. And let me look at, because it all depends on the year model of the board. Yes, you want to do all this as well. Obviously change all the bulbs. Maybe a little bit on the way, but not so much, right? Yeah. So change all the bulbs. Solder here. So you want to solder, make sure all the 122s, the 511s, and the 561s are resistors. I also usually also solder these ones around here, the voltage supply area. I always checked and solder. Realistically, it's so easy, so quickly to do. And please don't do this. Don't leave the resin, the blocks in here. All right, so let me take a look at the other side because I wasn't too impressed with the solder. But I mean, the stepper motor is working, even the oil. So, but it is sticking. So I think that this what we have in here is not an electrical problem. It's actually a stepper motor issue. But since somebody else was here and did that very bad repair, yeah, we got some corrosion on the back. Nothing major. But I definitely want to put attention on that because these clusters are really known for losing connectivity because of broken lines due to corrosion. And we can see, oof, it's going to be a little hard to show in the video, but we have some, at least it's not water, it's something that's sticky. Not sure what was left in there. All right, so let's remove the stepper motors. You want to make sure that you let your desolder gun or solder socket, whatever you want to call. The one I'm using in here is the Haco FR 301. It's been really good tool. I have this for, I don't know, maybe 10 years. Really good tool. Very happy. You want to let it warm up. And then when you put them onto the pad, you don't want to like wiggle it too much. You just want to let it melt the solder and then suck it in. Because otherwise you can damage the board because of the same situation. And the reason I'm going like that is because the pins are a little bent, just very normal. All right, that should be good. Gotta be very gentle with this one because I don't know what they did here. No, not so bad. They got two plastic tabs that usually holds it in place and guides them. You just give it a little bit of a wiggle, and that will take care of removing it. All right, so they're all out. And I'm talking about these tabs in here. Now we don't need the solder gun. I mean the desolder gun more. I always use these 4148. Different racks and different tools for each task. So we're gonna start first on the back before we desolder or resolder in it then, and to clean all this junk that's been in here for a while, and then we can not really care about those balls at all. So I want to clean the areas where I'm going to solder. And also to give a good inspection to the board. Make sure the main connector in here, you're going to inspect that too. It'll be gentle because this has a clear coat, right? You don't want to reap that, but you want to clean the garbage that was left by the previous repair facility. Obviously, and I hope that you are noticed that I'm being sarcastic, right? All right, that looks now a thing that we can work with. I am always going to clean this before. Gotta be careful with the balls, at least not to reap the tracks. I have different brushes. Ones are a little more soft. Oh, this should probably work better here. Careful with the two screens. And the reason I like to use these flux remover is to leave no residues, and it's completely electric safe. So alcohol, yes, you can use alcohol if you want to. Alcohol is good to remove water. So yeah, depends on what are you looking to do. It might be the best to use. And I do have alcohol as well too. I use it for, again, for moisture removal, but I always apply this glass, clean with a rag. Looks like my mother was back in here, so I'm gonna stop the video because it's getting loud. I'm make sure I'm recording. Yeah, I left one motor there. We're not done with it. Make sure you guys are watching what I'm doing. Yes, you are. I would like to double check or triple check because I have done videos where I'm talking and you were not even there. All right, so yeah, I mean, this is repair on a cluster. This one is just a normal repair. Like I said, you're not wiggling the tool in there because it will rip the pad. You want to make sure that you just, let the tool get to normal temperature or full temperature, and then you're okay with removal. Not a garbage one. Just so you know, I'll finish doing that, and I am going to dry the bore and then apply air. It is amazing, whoever put those bulbs in there, the type of bulb they use. All right, the next thing to do is to solder those. So I might want to put the camera. The problem is, if I use the camera here, I might not be able to show you. Let me see. I don't know what, I always have problems with the cameras on the microscope. All right, I connected the microscope, so you guys will be seeing that. So let me move over to that. Yeah, it is live, and I have to keep checking that because otherwise, sometimes it just doesn't. It gets stuck in that camera only. So yell at me if that happens. All right, so this is the one piece that I'm telling you. This is, I don't know why it does in here. You see that? It's like a piece of a broken resistor they got there, and they just, oh, sure, it works. It works for me. All right, so we're going to get the hot iron gun. I mean the iron in here. You want to use flux, and this is the problem. All this junk that you see here, you know why is that? Because they just went and soldered all these resistors with no flux. They didn't clean anything, and they not only not clean, they just went ahead and apply solder on top of solder. Which, I mean, if you're just touching up a resistor, it's okay. But for a repair like this, you need to be doing a correct job. So I'm gonna show you the big difference. Oof, let me put my exhaust fan. Come on, finally. I'm gonna try to talk a little louder, so hopefully it's not too loud for you guys. All right, let's touch this up. Wonder what is that? Oh, ha 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 ha. That's a broken resistor, dude. Wow. Hopefully you can see that. Let me. Well, I just left a broken resistor in there. Wow. Well, I was saying it's like, what is that in there? Well, it's not a piece of another resistor. That resistor is broken. So yeah, they just left it in there like it's good to go. So we will remove that one in a second. Let's solder first. Clean all this mess. Hmm. See if we can reposition this one better using a tweezer. Let's get this one out of here. Do this one with a tweezer, not a problem. Yeah, that was a completely broken resistor. You can see that in there. I mean, that resistor was never doing anything in here, and that can create issues. I'll have to look into the schematics. I have the schematics completely for this board. Let's clean this up a little. Usually just get a clean first, and then one more time, because I'm not really happy with the way that looks either yet. I can definitely see like color. I cannot say like a rust color, but that same brownish color we see here coming off of the board. There's two ways you can use. You can use the rose metal to this solder or remove that solder, because I don't like the way that looks. I'm going to remove some of the solder because that is just too much. This is a quick and easy way to do it. Trying to remove some of that junk. But we can see something like brown. You see that brown coming out? Then we need to find a 510 ohm resistor. Let's solder those first. Make sure I move this so you guys can see better in the screen. Yeah, it looks a lot better. Let me look for that resistor, guys. Hi guys, I got the resistor. Let me take that out of there. Let me see if I can do it from there. Over here. Okay. Yeah, we don't need that auto capture in there. It's just actually being in your way. I will have to keep looking at that screen to make sure the camera does not stop, because when I mix it with other cameras, for some reason it does stop very constantly. All right, so we have that other resist. I already removed the balls. Forgot to press the record button, but it's just the balls that I did removal of all of them. If I'm going to replace, I replace them all. All right, that looks good. And before we keep cleaning, let's move over to the other spot. And this one, they don't look good. I mean, they don't look bad, sorry. But sometimes you can get full. I'm going to adjust my eyes to these. Give me 1 second. You're going to be probably out of focus. Can adjust that very easily. It's very hard for me to do the eye part. Okay, that looks decent. And in here, as long as you are, let me just solder this upper section. So we're going to heat up in here. And usually when the resistor is loose, it will move. Even though I didn't like that bottom part, I'm going to put some flux in there because that doesn't look good at all. It's like this board has corrosion, even though it was working good. If you go quickly, that's all you really need to do. Now let's clean this area. And the one we just did. I hope you can see that the coloration on the board, it looks so much better compared to what it was in here. I cannot believe that somebody left a broken resistor in there, because those are signals. Those are the signals for the stepper motors and so in here. I'm pretty sure we got a little bit of corrosion on this bulb in here. That's why I render remove it, because that one is actually the blinker. And I usually don't remove or replace those because they're, just use occasionally. It's not like the rest of the balls that you are, in constant use of those. Yep. Because you were seeing this in here. Probably going to move over to the other cameras. And I'm gonna have to readjust the view here. I don't need this one on. Just going to clean the board. And for that, I don't need the microscope. I'm gonna clean all the valve surfaces. The rest of the stuff I've already soldered. Sorry I let you guys down. Well, not really down because it's just soldering things. Careful by cleaning this one's very nice and gentle. Usually use a stainless steel cleaner that I use for the plastics and everything on those too. That removes the marks of the years of garbage in here. It's a little bit. It's a very good cleaner. You have to be very gentle while you're doing this. It looks a lot better. Now it's shiny. It was so dirty. All right, so um, pretty much, let me just do a quick inspection on the board myself, just to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Just going around and inspecting everything to make sure that I didn't miss nothing. As you see right now, I have a very nice and clean board. Still a lot of debris in my bench. Gotta clean this spot. No solder here because they just added so much solder to anything. All the balls they replace, they add so much solder, completely unnecessary. And I don't know not even the quality of solder. It's just like a weird material. One, two, three, three. Yeah, this one is also a lot of solder here. All right, so we're gonna need 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Time 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 bolts. Let's see how much I got here. I've got the length 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2 extras. Three, 5, 9, 11. And here I just like to leave enough room for the bulb to be stand up. I just put one bulb and actually, I got to check the connector. So before I do this, let me check the connector on the other side. Right now I have no stepper motors or anything to see how that looks. Just cleaning the plastic coating. It looks like they have never been soldered, but they look in original shape and no holders. One of these was soldered. Yeah, the red looks in pretty good shape. Yeah, connector. Let me show it to you guys. It's in perfect shape, so nothing wrong in there. Yes, we're live. So yeah, Let me just make sure you guys can see, and I do too. Remember, what you can see there and what I see on the screen is very different, or in my binocular. I got more, I can see a lot more on the board than what you can see on the camera. Hopefully you can see the rest of the pins are all, what you see there is just the plastic steel coating in there, but the actual solder is in very good shape. So yeah, we don't need to do anything in there. So let me give you back again to the main cameras. I have also noticed that when I'm here, you can hear me better than when I'm using the microscope camera. Don't ask me why. Okay. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I just usually does this with a nice solder. I'm going to actually do that into all the pads now with a clean solder, my solder. All right, that should be enough. And then all I do is just lift it up straight. So let's cut them all a length. What you want to leave is kind of like half of this length. It's probably going to be a little hard for me to show you, but let me just do one. All right, guys, I had the bulbs already installed. Sorry, but I had my brother call me for almost an hour. You know how family is, so I cannot say nope. But yeah, so all the bulbs are already installed. As you can see, everything is there. I'm going to now start with the motors. So, and these ones, pretty easy to install. All you need to be is careful when you install the position. They have a small hole and a big hole where they go in place. What I always do recommend to do is just to make sure that you can bend the pins in if it's possible, because some of the motors have hard pins, other ones they don't. But that will give the position. You will now be able to put the motor into a different position due to that a clip that has built, again, hopefully you can see in there, it has a big hole and a small hole, and that's also why I put the ball first, because it makes it very easy to do that way. And this is also where you need to be careful that you have cleaned the pads well with the solder socket, and because when they go in, they can push the back top down. All right, so we have them all in there, and this is just solder. So I don't think that we really need to. I need to show much, but I can if you want. I mean, we're here, right? So might as well. Let me get that camera going. So let me move it over to the amp scope, which is, no, it's not frozen. All right, so as you can see good in there. I got a new arm swim in here that is very soft. I love it because it's very good to work in my bench. But sometimes, as you see, it start to like walk. All right, that looks good in there. All right, then this is just soldering, right? I tried to keep the, oh, actually it's not going to be possible. I was trying to get the camera onto one spot, but it is going to be very hard to do that. Trying to lock the arm a little bit so it doesn't move that much. I like the quality of the motors that I'm using now. They got a very nice sturdy pin, and the clips are perfectly for the board. There's a lot of sellers, but there's a lot of junk ones too. Just looking for the position of the next one. As you guys are looking in there good. And obviously this is taking a lot longer for me, going in to prepare the cameras and trying to get everything as clean as possible too, so you guys can see the process. When I'm doing this off a camera, it's definitely a lot faster. It should be the last one. And I can bring this up. And let's clean up. This one is frozen. Very nice tool, this one. And one last visual inspection. Make sure the balls are nice and straight, because I just, push them down. Everything is looking good. One last screen cleanup. I'm gonna pause the video to clean all the plastics, and I'll be right back, guys. I think I got everything ready. Let's set up the boring here again. It's not lining up properly here. Okay, so look into this again. I just bent one of the balls. There it is, guys. This is coming apart, but not fully. That's the best way to do it. Base is already clean, so just keep it here. And then I don't bend the balls, especially that one in the corner. And for the blinkers, this is the best way to do it. Oof, this is still dirty here. Well, realistically, there is nothing in here that is important to keep it clean, but this was so dusty. So one more time. Push button back in there. Everything looking good. This is a lens, so if you can clean it too, make sure it's not dust in there. You can see what I'm doing. That's just a reflection for the balls, right? Okay. And now we can set the face. And this is very important to wear gloves. Okay. It's pretty good. So now we can lift it together. Let's put the clear cover on first. And let's stop them from falling. Now we don't have to be worrying about, falling back. And in here is where we just will set the needles, but we're not going to push them in this too. Even the needles are full of junk. And they do have their stop, so you will feel it. And then we will connect the scanner again, and we set the needles properly. I can find the shaft. And that should be good enough. I got a very good view of everything in there. So let's get the scanner back in the business here, back in the cameras. Sure, we got to still that in there, and I just needed to turn them on, right? Yep. Well, let's power up. You can see nice and bright. Blinkers are working. Now it's definitely a lot better. Very nice and bright. So this is definitely telling me that we have to adjust the needles. I'm very off in here. Let me power off. I'm just going a little less. All right, let's power up again. This should be the zero right there. That one is good. This one is a zero. So fuel oil is good. Still gotta adjust this one a little more. I mean the oil just a tiny bit. Didn't see the rest. So what it does is when you turn the power off, the oil should read back to zero. This one is good, good, good. That one is adjustment. A little more. Okay. This worked perfect. You need to adjust this too. Okay, this one is good. Four is good. This one needs a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good all. Okay, they're now set on the 0. So let's connect with the scanner and do a sweep test. I'm going to go back just to make sure that we are indeed connected. Looks like we are. All right, so let's start that. And that is just the team viewer because the scanner is showing me that it's already there. Come on. The scanner's already out of that one time ago. Yeah, I was actually pulling the scanner to do it here because that is definitely TeamViewer or internet speed, not sure. So, all right, let's click it on. Perfect. Now we can see they're all reaching the full and off. They're all perfect. One more time. Something happening there. On. Or the button, probably press it twice. Yeah, no more than that sound. That was definitely the stepper motors hanging. Let me do it one more time. Yep, they're all good. Off. And the fuel has to go down a little bit. Now the fuel has to be on reserve. No more. Let me do the sweep test one more time. Now looking at the fuel and it's going, it was going past the full. Yeah, it looks a lot better. Temperature needs a little bit adjustment too. And the fuel can go just a little tiny bit more. And one more time. We do the sweep test. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Temperature is good. Battery is good. Oil is good. We do the fuel one more time. And the fuel can go down a little more. Let's do the on. Yeah, it looks a lot better. That's it. So now what you want to do after you set up the needles and you're sure that they're reaching the full and everything is check the depth. Because I was able to push them really good, but we can still go down a little more. Let me unplug this from here. You can do this by eye. When you know what you're doing. Okay, let's check it one more time. Look then. They all got to the zeros. On. Perfect. Off. All right, guys. Yep. I think that everything is good to go. Let me just show you with this position. Now the needles and everything looking good and so much brighter too, because that was so dim too, so dusty, so dim. So the only thing we need to do now is, put the cover. So I can turn this off. The cluster, the repair is 100% done. I cleaned the lens as much as I could because it was so dusty inside, but there is areas that are so tight that even with the air or brushes, I couldn't get everything out, but that's it. There's nothing I can do, and I don't want to push it too much because that can separate the lens from the plastic, and that will become my problem. Not here to get problems, right? All we need to do is make sure we set this straight. Let me get the connector out. So I can move this properly. For the ones on the bottom is that you want to be careful. Remember the ones that fought me first? Make sure that everything clips in. No broken taps. Everything perfectly done. In a nice and clean, looking like new instrument cluster. So Jermaine, your instrument cluster is ready. Let me take that off. All right, guys. I know that this is going to be definitely a long video, but I have many of you requested this. You want to see a complete repair, and I know that I cut some areas about adding the balls and things like this that were. I mean, that's so simple, right? But I try to show as much as I can do with this, and I hope you like the content. Again, if you have any instrument clusters, automotive or marine, ECMs, or any modules pretty much for automotive or marine, please contact Mike Salazar Diagnostics. Just a short commercial. Let me show you my website. Oops, not that one. So this is how my name is spelled. And if you're here, just look at the channel. And if you're here, also please subscribe. Again, if you have any repairs, just look for the website, which I'm going to add in the title of this video. And then in here, you have two boxes. That white box you can click, and that will download a Word document for you to fill and print and add to the box with the module or modules. The other one is click here to email us, just as it says, just click here. Now you can email me. That will put my email immediately into your email application in your phone or in your computer. Or you can use the chat button, which is behind me right now. But yeah, there is a button in there you can click. It's a blue button. And then if you use the chat, make sure that you add your email at least so I can contact you. All right. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye-bye.